And everybody for the last pro draft of the night. I know, so sad, so sad. It is I, Yanni, still joined here by RareAdam. And Adam, we've seen two different teams in two different games, it feels like.
Yeah, it feels like DPS really had the onus on themselves going into game two to sort of just prove themselves as one of the top teams. But Trebuchet really coming out of the woodwork and showing us what they are made of themselves is just really giving a good understanding of how this BTL power match or these power rankings can really translate. And in a lot of ways, DPS showing that they do have some flaws in their game still that need to be cleaned up. But overall, it's going to just be about finishing off the series with a victory and moving on to round 3 next week.
And realistically speaking, it's still week one. The power rankings from
Yeah.
the power rankings were based off week one results, is what I meant to say. Obviously, it's still early on in these power rankings. Once you get to like week 4, week 5, that's when they'll really start to take shape. But Adam, I'm very interested here. Team Trebuchet, they've gone with some pretty good bands here in Soraka and Cho'Gath. It's been pretty much all the same here. Meanwhile, DPS, they've opted to say, hey, there's no more Diana, there's no more Trundle, there's no more Kennen. And the final ban is that Tristana that really didn't do so hot last game.
Yeah, interesting option. It leaves the Karthus open once again for Talus if they so desire. And I think that Karthus was a really big factor in their victory. So I want to see if they will opt to go for that. But no, Hecarim is left untouched. So Talus,
the Talus special
might be able to finally get their hands on that champion for themselves. Yep.
The Talus special, 69% win rate. Nice. In solo queue. 54 games. An absolute menace on Clip Clop Man.
Yeah, the horse will be trotting their way looking for a blue ribbon in this one. And, Talus having that agency to, just know that champion in and out, inside and out, just, it means huge things for the side of DPS. They're going to basically get the most comfortable jungler that they're on. But Red Strike going for more redemption here.
Listen, back-to-back games on Rel, you heavily criticized the Rel, and even, and let's call it what it is. Early on, this Rel did not amaze.
She sucked early on, yeah. And then she was able to come back and not suck. And that's the best part about that game, is that Red Strike was able to sort of overcome their early demons and make that champion work when it mattered. I think a big factor, though, taking Aftershock will mean so much more. Wet Dreams was able to stay alive for most of that time, regardless of Guardian Shield. So consider the option, Red Strike. If you're listening, consider it. Just give it a consideration.
Bro, are you still eating?
Yes. I was swallowing at the same time.
I can hear it. Team Trebuchet, they're looking to just run it back here so far. 2/5 of their team composition has been locked in, although they will not get access to the Trundle this game. And, I mean, I really don't know what this Rel Veigar combination is going to do, if they're going to be able to have the same success that, they had last game, because Talus is playing the Hecarim this time. I'd love to see Sparrow play something like a Yuumi, because Yuumi Hecarim is such a strong combination. It looks like they're going to opt into Jinx and floating around the Morgana. Okay, so Jinx Morgana is nice, providing protection off the Black Shield, providing CC. It's a fine bot lane combination, I suppose.
It can work. And I think the main thing is that I notice, at least from it, is Morgana is the biggest bait into Rel, I think, ever. Yes, I baited everyone into that one as well. The Black Shield doesn't get a whole lot of value when Rel just stabs through it. And this is a really nice combo now. Rel plus Misfortune. Magnet Storm, Attract and Repel, everything is an AoE there, and you just toss down and make it rain, you toss down the bullet time, and it's almost guaranteed to get a massive bullet time off. So Wet Dreams and Red Strike here, a lot of onus on them once again to sort of find their I want to say their effect on this game.
And on the other side of the coin, Dreams is his work cut out for him. Against the Morgana, going to be after dodging bindings. Morgana can pretty easily just walk up to you in soul shackles. There is a very angry pony that was first picked, and Misfortune is not exactly the most mobile of 80 carries.
It's curious to see how they've opted to go for this draft. You know, the Vhagar is great if there's not a whole lot of mobility, but this Hecarim can run right through it in a lot of ways if they use that Onslaught of Shadows. And it's an early pickup here without any sort of reply from Aliskander, so there's still a lot of agency for Aliskander to sort of strike back and answer with some sort of interesting pickup here into it. And we know that the mid pool champions here is rather wide for Aliskander.
Trebuchet, their bans, they got opted into Victor and Malphite. They left Ornn open for Quaggart.
Yes, they did. They left an option open. And
yeah,
whether that is the play or not.
Yeah, but we saw that Quaggart on tanks and Quaggart on anything else has just been, it's night and day. So I feel like you just opt into the Ornn here, and you know, I was thinking that maybe Trebuchet like kind of takes it away, and maybe that's a little too aggressive. But they will lock in the Gnar once again for Op Ivy, as they had a very excellent game on that Gnar in game 2.
Yeah, that Gnar was a pivotal point in their victory, I think. Alongside that Trundle, the top side of the map was just able to get a lot more power. But this is going to be interesting option with the Orianna picked up by Aliskander. And this last pick, you know, Ornn is going to struggle with that Gnar in lane, but will have a lot of ways to just be effective in that later stage. And yeah, it's just going to get locked in by Quaggart here.
Yeah. Listen, Quaggart likes his bunguses. Wide Quaggart happy as he has locked in the Ornn. Aliskander with the Orianna, let me tell you, remember, I mentioned that I love Vhagar, and I played Vhagar level 1 to level 30. The second mid laner I ever learned was Orianna. And so I'm very well-versed in how this matchup works in the mid lane. And if you're Orianna, you kind of want to just farm it out until you hit level 6 and just make team fights happen and just don't interact with the Vhagar because it's very easy to get caught. Oh, okay. High
Staples
here for Staples. Try to do their best Expo cosplay.
Oh, baby. I love Qiyana Jungle. Qiyana Jungle here is really interesting because there's so much terrain play here. You have the Gnar ultimate, you've got now the Qiyana ultimate, you've got this Vhagar cage that you can push people into. There's so much potential here for Trebuchet. I really like their comp here, and honestly, Staples Official will be carrying sort of the weight of his team with this pick because Qiyana Jungle is super feast or famine. It can live or die. Your team can live or die by that pick, so gonna have to keep our eyes out for that one. But, Yanni, we get to go to the more difficult part of the, I want to say, the logistics of the league sometimes, and
we got, there's some interesting things going on here. So, one of the players in this game does have a obligation, a work-related obligation that has come up for just a couple of minutes. So we will be probably having like a 20-minute-ish break in between.
It might not even be that now.
It might be
shorter.
Draft. Yeah, it would be shorter between this draft and when we actually start. So I know that's a bit of time. Please bear with us. Both teams did agree on this as the best course of action instead of just pausing when we got into the game. We figured that this is a little bit better to do. So we can, let's have a little bit of conversation here about the team compositions, because let me tell you something. I like what DPS is doing. They've got high damage out of Orianna Jinx. They got good tankiness and engagement out of Ornn Hecarim. This is a true two-threat composition.
I like the trim of their jib in a lot of ways. You've got this Hecarim to carry the Orianna ball, and you've got this Ornn to set up for plays. Morgana can act as a pick tool as well. You've got a lot of ways to play these team fights out in a way. But I think on the flip side, the hard part to deal with is you have one black shield, and you have to black shield like 4 different people. And it gets difficult to choose your target.
Well, it doesn't mean that you never have a bad target.
Yes, it means that you never have a bad target, but you also have one target where Rel is going to press Q on you, and then your black shield is gone because it comes through your shield. So that's the main reason why Morgana is a huge bait into Rel if she's using that black shield early. You have to wait until Rel is in mid-air with that crash down to use your black shield to be able to get the most effect out of it.
All right, so now second question for you. This Qiyana Jungle, over/under for kills, 6.5.
Over?
Okay. Are you actually going with that as the over?
Over
we don't know anything.
Yes.
We don't know anything about Staples Kiana. Listen, the Kiana jungles that you know are coming out of Expo.
Yeah, and
This is not Expo.
yeah, but it is also Staples official. And I say that mostly because the only person that's difficult to kill for Kiana in this game is Ornn. Hecarim, if they go for a little bit more of that damage-centric build, will fold.
I mean, Staples didn't have a whole lot of kills in the first game.
Staples had 13 kills on Trundle. That is what I'm
yeah,
going
that
off
was the
of.
second game. Okay, yeah. But they got a head on Trundle. I don't know, man. I think that, maybe 6.5 is generous. Maybe 7.5 would have been a better line.
I would
But we
still go
already
over
said it
seven
at
and a half.
6.5.
I would
We
still go
already
over
said it
seven
at
and a
6.5.
half. Yeah, but we'll go with over
Okay.
6.5 here, and it's a lot because of the setup that you're able to get. Kiana's often go for first strike as well, so
I'm taking the under.
you'll take the under. Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking under 6.5.
It can be a challenging pick at times. I think that's the main thing to keep in mind, that Kiana jungle is really feast or famine. So taking the line is like, I'm going over more so just because I think that Trebuchet have Kiana's basically their finishing tool in a lot of ways. She's going to be the one to sort of finish off the fight with all of her bursts. So that's my angle on it. But DPS could very well just steamroll this Kiana and she gets like 1 kill.
I mean, Talus is playing their best jungler.
Yes.
Like, you have to keep that in mind, that this Kiana is going into a jungler that we consider a pretty strong player on their best champion. That's a tall order. And from what we saw out of the first game out of Trebuchet, where it was like they were okay at best, I don't know. I feel like this is an under. And listen, I'm 1-0. I'm 1-0 when it comes to picking the spread properly.
True.
I'm putting my 1-0 record on the line here in week 2 with Staples official under 6.5 kills this game.
Granted, last time we set the line, it was quite literally just because a pentakill happened.
Yep.
And we were I was close. I was really close.
Yeah, you were literally the that's the half point coming in. You were 1 kill short.
I was killed by the line, but regardless here, I think Kiana has the means to be able to get these kills here. I think they've got it. And I think a lot of that just comes down to, if Orianna burns flash early, if Jinx burns flash early, what do against the Kiana who has like 17 dashes?
This is a game where I'm kind of predicting that Kiana just doesn't get it going. Like, I foresee like a 0-3-1 at some point in this game for Staples. I don't know why. This is literally just not even... It doesn't have anything to do with any sort of high-level analysis or anything. I just got that gut feeling.
Sometimes you do get the gut feeling that things aren't going to go their way. And for me, I feel like in a lot of ways, DPS having this break for IRL reasons may actually give them a little bit more of an advantage back into this game, more so just because they're able to reset their mental a little bit more. They're able to sort of assess these comps, and Trebuchet have the same advantage here. They're able to sort of sit back, relax, assess the composition, assess what their win conditions are, and I think that overall, this game can really determine where these teams really belong in the power rankings, because Trebuchet being placed in 8th was off of a very small sample size. We've seen a little bit more of them. We see that they do deserve to move up the ranks a little bit more in a lot of ways. But DPS being put at 2nd here, they show that the Titans can still fall. They aren't Barbarous Fan Club, and definitely show that WCU maybe deserved a little bit more credit than they were given.
Well, one thing to note is it feels like DPS drafted a lot more respectful. Last game, their draft seemed a little disrespectful. A Wukong, Diana, Xerath, Lulu, Tristana. And now you can see this is a much more cohesive team composition with Hecarim, Jinx, Morgana, Orianna, and Ornn.
Yes, I think that in that respect vein of it, you can draft differently, but you should always respect your opponents in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, I think so too. You should never, because you don't want to drop games like these, because then you go into game 3 and you never know what could happen. Like, anything can happen on any given game. And when you drop a game, if you were a little disrespectful, not saying that the DPS was, but just if you end up being a little disrespectful, now you have to play a 3rd game and you have to actually come out and perform, and you can't afford to make a mistake in the early game or anything like that. One question I do have for you is, Team Trebuchet, they got 3/5 of their original comp, but now with a Misfortune instead of a Jinx and a Kiana instead of the Trundle, how do you think that affects the rest of the composition? Because it appears that Rel, Veigar, Gnar is their base here.
I think the Misfortune benefits off of this a lot because you still have that sort of front line with the Gnar and the Rel specifically. The Kiana also benefits off of it because there's just, as we said, a lot more other setups. So it's not Kiana who has to be that primary engage all the time. It can be a Gnar going in, it can be a Rel going in to set up for these plays. So that's a lot of why I think this Kiana is going to succeed, because of how cohesive their team fight looks. At the same time, though, I think the Gnar ends up being a little bit redundant here. In the sense that you've got a lot of team fight play already. It gets difficult when you're in the 1v1s or trying to get into those 2v1s because you don't have a Trundle to keep you safe as much as a Kiana can. It's all about killing this game, and their team comp ends up being a lot more snowbally, specifically with Misfortune. Misfortunes from behind do nothing. Misfortunes when you're even or ahead do absolute wonders, especially with this team comp. So I think that's the main point that I want to point out, is that their team is much more snowbally. I want to say, in the same vein that DPS's Game 2 draft was a little bit more disrespectful, that's what's coming out from Trebuchet as well. They're playing a little bit more cocky, and if it works out, bully to you, but if it doesn't, then I start throwing some questions.
They are certainly feeling themselves, and you take a look at everything that these Trebuchet champions can do. They can create a whole lot of discourse in a team fight, but Black Twitch League viewers, we are going to cut to break. Not quite sure how long we're going to take. We're guessing about 15-ish minutes, give or take a couple. We will double back and check in. Do keep in mind that this break will also encompass the spectator delay. So when we return, we will actually be on the Rift for this final game between Team DPS and Team Trebuchet. Both of these teams 1-1 in the series. One of these teams trying to go to 2-0. One of these teams trying to get to 1-1. I sincerely want to thank everybody who stayed with us through that long break. Thank you so, so much. Yanni and Adam are finally here for Game 3 between Team DPS and Team Trebuchet. Team Trebuchet on the red side, Team DPS on the blue side. Two ships passing in the night here. Do want to remember the bet. 6.5 kills for this Kiana. Adam says over, I say under.
And I'm sticking to it still, despite the long pause there. It gives them potentially time for Stables Official to just hop into practice tool, practice all their Kiana combos as well. But
wait a minute, didn't they do this last time and get destroyed for it?
Yeah, it was the opposite way around, though, because DPS were the ones who were able to capitalize on the over-aggression. But yeah, Quaggart just going to be dropping down the moves. How's the Great Sejuani emote? That one is a top-tier emote, and I am jealous.
Listen, sometimes you get the best emotes, and it looks like they're all making their way down to the red buff. I don't think Zagan has pinged them off yet. There we go. It's going to get a 3v3 going.
Yeah, red strike. Here we go.
Here we go. Do
what?
something. What is going on? Oh no, Talus! Talus in a whole lot of trouble. The smite goes down onto the buff. The exhaust is there. The first blood is going over to that realm, but they trade it back onto Staples. And now they're firing away on Dreams. Connection, though, turns around onto Red Strike, who is now getting very low, and is one auto attack away from death. And there's a kill for the Jinx. And now Alice Kander's just going for it. He's taking a whole lot of damage. Sparrow is here. Can they land the binding? They do with the Comet. Oh my god. It's 3 for 2. Sparrow just standing there, not even auto attacking back. We'll be able to walk it out. Kiana's 0-1-1. I did say that they were going to be 0-3-1 at some point.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Rel picks up first blood. Probably the worst person to pick that up, as Stables Official actually got exhausted in the middle of that. But these level 1s from these two teams have been absolutely crazy. Just the 4v4 on the bottom side. Quaggart and OP Ivy Op Ivy, sorry, just refusing to join that. But Quaggart going to Pound Town.
Nah, I think everything's all fine here, though. Op Ivy is taking a whole lot of damage back. He's getting very low. Is he going to get knocked up in a second? I think he's getting...
Whoa! W!
No, the flash forward, he smacks him. It's a solo bolo for Quegger. The guy is just built different on tanks.
Yeah. We talked about it, and we looked at the mastery on the homepage, and he's level 4 mastery on Orange, so apparently that's enough to be a different beast, and Quegger able to pick that one up as Op Ivy got a little bit too fancy for their own good, but this bot side of the map here, you see Your Bad Connection, Fierce 4 already with a massive lead here. You know, a kill for the Jinx, 2 kills for the Morgana, gonna bode into a difficult situation for this Misfortune Rel, as we mentioned. Very reliant on Snowball.
Yeah, and we talked about how the long layoff could potentially affect this game. And you see it right here. Team Trebuchet, they had all the momentum.
Oh my goodness, not
into
again!
this game, as Ivy is going to have to flash away. But Team Trebuchet had the momentum coming into this game, but we had the long layoff, again, mutually agreed by both sides. And you see that Team DPS, they had a lot of time to reset the mental, as you said before, and it's paying off right now.
Oh, it's been paying off in spades. They get the level 1 play that they want. They're able to find a solo kill on this top side of the map. Quegger having already a better time of things thus far. Going to reset, going to pick up that tier and start to get real tanky. And, you know, Talus on this Hecarim really going to be sort of the X factor I think that we need out of this game, because this Kiana, when she's able to farm up, Staples Official will be scary. And these junglers have had a really tough time just trying to clear their jungle thus far, because no leashes, and they're going to be behind the curve significantly. So realistically, this doesn't benefit either jungler per se, but it does benefit Yanni, yourself, in our little bet.
Yes, sir. Listen, I called it. No, it's going to happen.
Wow.
What a binding out of Sparrow. Do they have the damage in? Oh, it doesn't look like it. Alice Kander didn't have the mana. Too long of cooldowns, but it's going to force a flash out of the Veigar. An excellent roam out of Sparrow.
Yeah, Sparrow, I don't know how they
aimbot
finagled that around the minion there. Somehow, some way it landed as Talus going in for a little bit of an invade here, but yes, this Kiana has this Serrated Dirk now, will be potentially able to find some sort of aggressive play, and that's really what I'm curious about. I want to see how well Staples Official does when they finally have that little bit of extra damage, and opting for the Dirk means that they're very likely going early Yomu's Ghostblade, not going for the Gore Drinker by the looks of it, which may end up being the better play for getting more kills, but might not actually bode well for your overall game state. We'll have to find out. We will wait and see.
Yeah, and you can see just the difference between the junglers right now. Hecarim has the tier, so, you know, there's a large difference between a tier and a Serrated Dirk, because you can even see Staples is trying to get some vision down in the jungle and see what's up as they're coming to gank mid lane, and then the bottom lane, the Ignite was burnt. Alice Kander has been found out by Staples, will be able to flash away, and Staples just barely off on that one, and now Talus doing what they can to put as much damage down on this Kiana as possible. They will flash away. A solid gank out of Talus. Ghost burnt for them. Flash down for the Kiana, but be good to force Alex Scanner off. And Quegger is going to land a knock-up into another knock-up and is going to clap Op Ivy. 2 solo kills out of Quegger. He is unleashed.
Yes, finally back on the comfort there. Really showing
back on his bungus.
He's back on the bungus, and that's exactly what we need, as the Gnar just having a really tough time. Mini Gnar, as we said, absolutely trash stats, and Quegger able to take advantage of that to find himself not 1 but 2 solo kills already this game, and still waiting to see what the junglers are going to do this game, because after that level 1 skirmish, they have done nothing. And it's not surprising, but they have done nothing.
Ooh, Sparrow just walking up here. Is going to take the Ignite. The shield's going to be broken. You talked about that in the pregame. And now Connection is on top of Red Strike. The heal is out. Are they able to find the kill? They will. They will try to get excited. And Quegger up in the top lane, making some things happen. Your Bad Connection able to get out of there. Staples in a whole lot of trouble. Talus is about to fall. It's a double kill for Connection. Staples is going to get 1, but they're going to die for it. It's a triple kill for Connection on this Jinx.
Wow, just out of nowhere. Just more kills going into this Jinx's pocket as she's fed. She's 4-0-2. This is Your Bad Connection this time on the Jinx, and we've seen the 4-0 Jinx lose before, but not when it's 4-0 at 7 minutes into the game. It's a ridiculous early game already coming through for Your Bad Connection and the DPS squad, and 3,000 gold up already. This is a good sign.
Yeah, and we've seen it lose, but it wasn't in the hands of Your Bad Connection.
Yes.
And, you know, we talked about it in the pregame. these AD carries haven't really gotten anything going. Your Bad Connection matching their kill total for the entire series prior to this game.
It's always going to be a point of contention here that Jinx, when you're able to play a reset AD carry, you thrive in the chaos. But Aliskander here,
well, could be in a lot of trouble. Does get rooted up. Staples able to go, whoa! Serve that one up on a platter for Your Bad Connection. Hits level 6 off of that kill, is able to drop the ultimate, and Staples is going to fall. Talus picking up their first kill of the game. 5 assists for Mr. Worldwide. And right now, it's been all Team DPS, but luckily for you, Staples only needs 5 more kills.
yeah, you know what? Staples is finding the kills. So, at the end of this game, if they are 7 and 8, that's still, 7 kills. So
Yeah.
we didn't say, they're going to have a KDA above 1.3
no.
or something, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it works.
I'm getting a little nervous, I have to say.
Staples has been engaged in these fights, and only level 5. I think that's a big thing to point out as well. Once they get level 6, they're going to be feeling a lot more confident. Granted, Talus making sure that takes a little bit longer with the blue buff steal here. And honestly, thus far, this Rel, once again taking the Guardian, it's just having trouble making it work. It's having trouble sticking onto these people and finding the crowd control that you need, and especially when you're playing a Misfortune, who should have the early game priority over this Jinx. You hate to see it like this, is, level 6 going to still be in process for Wet Dreams and Red Strike here. It's taking them a really long time, as Your Bad Connection already level 7.
Yeah, and we can see coming Quaggert's up 2 levels up here on the top lane. It's just been all Team DPS so far, and all they have to do is really just hang on to their lead here. That you've got the late game scaling with the Jinx, and you're already accelerated so far into that. Jinx already 4,600 gold is 900 more than the second highest in the game.
Jinx gets things done. Oh, no.
Uh-oh, Zagam is going to have to flash away once again. Feels like the flash has been on cooldown all game long.
Yeah.
Aliskander not allowing him a moment to breathe.
And you can see in that mid lane with Morgana moving up. Ooh, Quaggart, though, in trouble.
Uh-oh, under the turret. Call of Forge God is out. Is he going to have enough? Is he going to turn it? Yes, he is! Quagger with the swag flash away.
Staples.
And now Staples has shown up here in the mid lane.
Oh!
Teleport coming in from Zagan. He's going to try to engage onto Sparrow, and he does and picks up a kill. Staples with the killer instinct there is going to be able to find a kill. And, all right, they get one back. But once again, Quagger in the top lane imposing his will.
And I said the only person that Staples can't kill this game is Quaggart, and that is true. That is going to remain true, and that is becoming even more true as this game progresses. But
oh my
played
God!
From Staples official, just to be able to find another kill. So 3 out of 7, thus far.
Yeah, Quagart is almost taking 4 plates. Staples has showed up here. Aliskander's got to try to find a way out. Does have summoners available.
Staples! Yes!
The Primordial Burst, and Staples is going to find another kill. Quagart in a little bit of trouble. He's going to have to try to get out of there. It's 4 kills for this Kiana now, and I'm starting to sweat a little bit.
I told you!
3 more, and we're 11 minutes in. I mean, I feel like a lot of these have been avoidable, Team DPS. What are you doing? Oh my God. That is a fast horse. However, the Veigar cage is there. He's going unstoppable. He's stunned himself under the turret. That being said, turret not doing a whole lot of damage, but will die 1 for 1. Talus very over-aggressive there. I guess that's okay. Orianna's going to get there a little bit faster. There's no teleport on the Veigar.
Veigar is going to feel okay about that because they didn't really have a right getting a kill in that one. Talus is able to pick up that the Trebuchet tank now to be able to dish out a little bit extra damage. But, on this bot side of the map here, Your Bad Connection's still incredibly scary, imposing their will on this bottom half of the map. Already has that Gale Force complete, but, not as big of a lead as I think we were expecting. The Eclipse is complete on to Dreams here. You've got the Prowler's Claw now complete on the Kiana, so looking to do as much damage in this early game as possible. And, oh boy, looking around this bottom side of the map.
Well, they knew that Staples was showing up there as Zagan, trying to burst out Aliskander there, and no ultimate available for that Veigar, but next time around it will be. Aliskander has to be careful.
Yeah, and has to be careful of Staples.
Uh-oh, here comes the Veigar. He's speeding up. Aliskander's in a lot of trouble, does get stunned up. This one's going to go over to Zagan. I breathe a sigh of relief, but Team DPS, they're throwing their lead a little bit here. Quaker's in a lot of trouble as well. Down low, there's kills, shutdowns all over the map. This is disaster for Team DPS as Dreams managed to find the shutdown onto the Jinx. On the top lane, Op Ivy gets the shutdown. Wet Dreams is able to find Sparrow. Talus coming in, trying to get some kills. Is going to have to try to walk this one out. But is it a 4v1 scenario? The tower charge is going to go down. Talus just trying to do what they can to kite it out. Going unstoppable. Red Strike is going to find that kill. And in the blink of an eye, Team Trebuchet have more kills. They've evened up the gold lead. It's a disaster for DPS. What are you doing?
5 kills across the map with that play. And yeah, DPS they get a little bit too comfortable in their own skin on the bottom side of the map. Big shutdown picked up by Wet Dreams on to your bad connection. And all of a sudden, this game is right back to square one here in game 3. This is shaping up to be a potential BTL banger.
It really is, and you know, I didn't anticipate it going this way, and now I'm regretting that bet. If there's any way I could hedge, I probably would, because I definitely think Staples is going to get a couple more kills. Staples did get rooted up there. Aliskander is on the way. He's going to be able to speed up Sparrow and get him out of there, but this Kiana very early on, very scary.
Yeah, you better be hedging your bets here, because thus far, you know, on this top side of the map, Almighty has had a difficult time, but Quaker's still doing Quaker things. Turret plating does fall, so not going to get that last plate, but, you know, this top lane has been a point of contention. You have to be incredibly careful, but, oh boy.
Oh, Talus, no! There's just the instinct. Staples picks up number 5. Do we see number 6? The tether is there, but Sparrow will... No, they will be able to flash over the wall and get out of there. But Team DPS, they're just going so aggressive, so disjointed. They've thrown their huge lead that they had. I think their mental might be damaged.
It might be a little bit, but I think this game is still close enough that they've still got a chance to get back into this one. Of course, Staples official going to be feeling really good about this lead. You know, Kiana's such a strong champion when you're able to snowball your advantages over and over again. And, you know, 2 and 5 on this Hecarim for Talus hasn't been what we are expecting thus far, although Dreams...
Oh, over the wall. Bullet time. Dreams is going to pick up a freebie. 4, 2, and 4 right now. And it's the curse of the 4-0 Jinx, because the rest of the team has not been doing so hot since then.
Yeah, 4-0 Jinx is the biggest curse you can get. Talus!
Oh my god, Talus! Talus is going in for this one. Staples is very low. Talus on the back.
Oh my goodness! Staples!
He's going to try to turn it! He's going to find a kill. And now Red Strike is pulling in Talus, and now Connection is going to fall as well. They wipe Team DPS. It's a 3-for-1. And Team Trebuchet, they are running roughshod on them right now. Yeah. 6 kills for the Kiana.
Yeah, the Supreme Display of Talent, I think, picked that up, like, around the wall or something.
Yep.
Was able to find one. So, you know what? I am feeling good here, Yanni. Oh, no.
I am not. I am in Spain without the S. And so is Sparrow, just giving another one over. What are these guys doing, man? This is ridiculous. Like, I try not to criticize the gameplay too much, but they had such a huge lead, and now they've just gone and they've pissed it away.
And you know, I get to criticize the gameplay, and in a lot of ways, it's a similar feeling. I'm confused as to how the side of DPS kind of fumbled the bag in a lot of ways. You had this weak side Ornn winning. You had this mid lane Veigar not doing too much, but it seems as if Aliskander has taken a couple too many steps forward, given over too much damage over to Zagan at this point. And on the bottom side of the map, you know, you had this your bad connection at 5 and 0. You could have just sort of parked the bus, been okay with that, but they just weren't content sitting at that state. But Staples official, trying to make my bet come true.
Looking for that 7th kill, and I'd say that you're in a pretty good spot. But Wet Dreams is not in a good spot. Oh my god! I think they got hit by both skill shots at the same time, because Morgana got the assist for that. The kill going over to Jinx. 7th kill of the game for your bad connection, and they are beginning to push on a bottom inner turret.
Yeah, and I think a big factor is there's still a lot of gold on this Jinx to keep in mind.
Flash from Aliskander. Hey, Staples! No, not quite yet. That one's going to go over to Zagan. Bot inner turret, they give a lot of gold. That one's going down, and now here in the top lane, Talus is showing up to the party. Quaker trying to land the knockup. He does anyway through off Ivy's flash, and Talus is going to be able to pick up a kill. And things starting to turn for Team DPS here.
And I think a big factor behind that is all of the deaths are on Aliskander here. 0 and 6, not getting any gold for killing the Orianna much further here, and they're still able to just sort of keep this Veigar in lane as long as possible. It's been a tough row of things for Aliskander here, but Staples missing out on that kill just barely. I mean, realistically, it's better to go over to the Veigar in this situation, but you know, a man can hope, but you can see Staples is doing some interesting movements through the jungle here. Might be able to find a pick onto someone if they aren't careful. Level 11 on the Qiyana means that you've got that level 2 Supreme Display of Talent. You've got that extra amount of burst now available to you. And now with the Yomus in inventory, you've got enough lethality to basically shred through whatever Jinx can think of.
If Qiyana doesn't get another kill this game, I will be absolutely amazed. One thing to see about the Team Trebuchet lineup right now, all of their kills are on their damage dealers, are on these carries. And you can't really say the same for Team DPS.
Yeah, you know, Quaggart has 3, the Hecarim has 3, Orianna has 0. I think that's the big part. All of the kills are on the right members, right? Like, Rel picking up 2 is sort of unfortunate, especially First Blood, but, you know, ends up getting your mythic item quicker. After that, you're less likely to take these kills as more damage comes through, so it's a little bit more forgivable here, but it's tough when, you know, a bunch of your kills are on the Orin. Oh boy, Talus is so fast.
That's a fast pony. He's been stunned. Great job there by the Rel, but I don't think it's going to matter. His dreams will fall. Here comes the teleport. Veigar trying to join the party here. He is in a whole mess of trouble.
Staples?
Connection needs to be put on the right side. He's going to flash over the wall, and now Staples could be caught out. It's a double kill for this Morgana. Snare comes out. They're trying to chase down onto Staples, and they will be able to find a kill. It's a triple kill for Sparrow, and the entire side of Team Trebuchet gets wiped. It's a 4 for 0. Now, Op Ivy on top of Aliskander. Aliskander doesn't have a whole lot of mana, doesn't have a whole lot of health. They're going to Shockwave on top of themselves, trying to get out. Do they have the moves? They're going back in. They're playing a dangerous game, but they do have the shield to be able to protect them and get out of there. Mid, outer turret going down, as now Team DPS, after they've gotten through the inting phase, they've cracked open a 5k gold lead, make it almost 6 if they've taken down a second turret now.
It's a crazy turnaround here, and a lot of that is off the back of your bad connection staying alive in that fight forever, and Aliskander staying alive on the top side of the map as well. They're unable to find some of these key members, and it just seemed like an over-aggressive play from the side of Trebuchet going down to that bottom side of the map. I still don't doubt that we're going to have a 7-kill Qiyana in this one, but it's been a game of throws thus far. It hasn't been great gameplay from either side realistically. It's just been a lot of throws back and forth, but the victor of this game is still quite uncertain, and with how volatile this game has been, I don't know how safe a 6,000 gold is.
Listen, the victor of this game are the people who are still watching.
Oh, yeah.
This has been pretty awesome to experience so far, and this game's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, and of course, once we get to these mid-games here when more people are grouping up, if you're taking 5v5s against Team Trebuchet, you still have to be incredibly careful because there's the Misfortune bullet time, there's the Gnar ultimate, there's, Zagon flashing. Oh, here it comes!
Oh no, Staples has been exhausted, is going to go down! Uh-oh, I'd be getting nervous if I were you, Adam! And now the chase is on to Zagon. Zagon is going to be able to try to waddle their way out of there, but has been knocked up, has been rooted. The stun is out, but he's only his mid-stun. That means the Zagon is no long for this world. Not long for this world, as Quaggart is going to pick that one up 4, 1, and 6 on the big bungus, and the Baron has been targeted and has been started up. This game has accelerated so quickly, Adam.
Yeah, it's moving at a mile a minute.
Pace.
It's breakneck, as you said, yeah, and it doesn't seem like a lot of things that Wet Dreams and Red Strike can do, but here they're going to try!
Here we go! There's no way to interrupt Dreams! The bullet time is just doing so much damage. Connection is going to be able to find the kill, and Sparrow gets the 1v1 over the wall with a little bit of help from Jinx. So while you do lose Talus, you'll secure the Baron anyway. And Team DPS, after being down and what looked like may have been out, have turned this one around miraculously. They have gotten 10 kills to Trebuchet's 3 over the last 5 minutes, have taken a Baron, and have cracked open an 8,500 gold lead.
It's miraculous in a lot of ways how this game has sort of transpired.
She just 3 items!
Like, Jinx is so fat. She's got the upgraded Gale Force as well.
Oh
She's
my
got Typhoon
God.
at 22 minutes. This is the power of Quaggert on the side lanes. It's what?
This is the power of Quaggert on tanks, baby.
Yeah,
Getting
Ornn
these
is
tanks.
busted when you're able to get a crap ton of experience.
Listen, Ornn, Malphite, Cho'Gath, ban. You cannot let Quaggert play tanks anymore. But then you allow Fear Sparrow to play Soraka. There's just no answer.
It seems as if there's no answer, and overall, I'm curious to see what the next sort of the next couple of minutes hold, because this Baron push is going to be rather devastating. There's not a whole lot of wave clear available, but Staples official.
Are you getting nervous that Staples still only has 6 kills?
I think they can eke out one of
oh,
these.
they have to have one here, right?
Oh,
going in for a Quaggert on the backside. Talus is going to interrupt the bullet time though, and now going back over the wall, he will manage to get out of there. Quaggert has been stunned. Is this going to be a kill? Quaggert is going to try to find out. Op Ivy has gotten in there. Wet Dreams has been stunned up, and it will fall. Staples unable to get into this fight. Talus is going to be able to get out of there A-okay. Oh, wait, maybe not. Maybe not. This could be number 7. Talus trying to do
Oh, my God.
Ah! No, he's not. No, he's going to.
No!
Let's go! Let's go! Inhibitor now being under siege by the side of Team DPS. This might be the game. The death timers are pretty long. If they're able to catch the Veigar, this could be it. Talus pretty low, and Talus will fall, but the first turret goes down. They're trying to make something happen. It's a big shockwave. Red Strike is going to fall. They're going to end the game.
No shot!
It's going to be 6 kills.
Not again!
6 kills. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Team DPS with a huge win, and they take the series 2-1.
I am the unluckiest BTL caster to ever exist.
Bro, that's why the half a point exists for the Vegas line, bro. You got Vegas again.
Damn. That's all I can say. Like, honestly, that was a really insane
awesome.
game to come out.
It ended like that. In the blink of an eye, the game was over.
It ended before it really began in a lot of ways. Just so many kills so quickly, just ended it with a snap of the fingers. And overall, DPS are able to sort of defeat their demons in a lot of ways. They were able to overcome sort of their own overplaying of the game, and they made it stick. And that's admirable. At the end of the day, they were able to sort of figure out what went wrong in game 2, and they were able to overcome that and come in with a victory. And, you know, going to be 2-0 on the season, so feeling good about everything when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and you know what? Your bad connection, we said they had to step up. They finished this series with 17 kills, and they got 13 of them in this game. An absolute masterful performance on this Jinx.
The Jinx was standout once again. Every single time that it has shown up here, it has been doing well, and I think it has to be something to consider for some of these teams moving on to ban Jinx. You have to start taking it away, because Pixel Wolf has had some great performances on the Jinx. We've had other people in the league do extremely well on the Jinx as well, so you know, start banning it. It's a good champion. They're not going to nerf it because she's getting a prestige skin soon, so just start banning it.
You almost have to. And again, you know, the champion is just no longer has a weakly defined early game like she used to, and now just still has that incredible scaling. It's an incredibly dangerous champion. You cannot leave that up alive. Talus, for all of the deaths that they had, all things considered, played an okay game. I expected a little bit more out of him, but made some big plays when they counted, namely in that last fight. Bullet time went off for maybe a half a second. He identified what he had to do in the fight to win. And Quaggert, I mean, just an absolute shutout in that top lane.
Yeah, they were really able to put down the hammer, as we said, be that bungus on the top side, and do extremely well. So curious to see how the rest of the season goes for some of these teams, because I think Trebuchet showed a lot of resolve in that series, and they showed that they can boogie with the big boys.
Yeah, and they showed in this game that they can scrap, and I thought that they were going to win this game. I really did. Early on, I was getting all down in the dumps because Staples had gotten so many kills early on that were just felt like they were gifted. And I mean, this team has shown that they can win games, and that's really all you need to be able to do. The problem is you need to win 2 out of every 3 games that you play.
And seems like Ito's here for some announcements this week.
Ito, have some of that. Ito, real quick, how crazy is it that I set the line at 6.5 and Adam took me over
honestly,
so confidently?
I just tuned in at the end. I saw, because I had it up on my other screen. I saw them get the 6 kills early, and I was like, oh, looks like Adam's gonna win this one.
Nope.
And then I tuned in near the end, and I was like, and then I heard what was going on. I was like, no
You
way.
just heard me
No
maniacally
way.
cackling.
I just heard you laugh.
I was spinning in my chair. I was going ballistic. Like
I'm the unluckiest.
Adam over
I
2.
could not believe it when I tuned in. Yeah, that was super hilarious. But yeah, what an absolute banger of a series, a fantastic game. This is our second game that match that went to 3. I believe one of the matches yesterday went to 3. I think WC Rams and Barbers Fan Club went to 3 as well. So just really cool to see these games go to 3 series. I just wanted to come and thank you guys, of course, for an amazing job on the cast. It was fantastic. I just lost my swag rush. Oh well. And we're gonna go ahead and throw a host over to Kemi. Kemi is one of those OGs that played in BTL Season 1 and old streamer that's a friend of the community. Go and support Kemi. Check her out. She's playing some League of Legends, so we're staying on the same game this evening. And we will be back tomorrow. We only have one game again tomorrow because of the reschedule, so we'll be back with Predictor Gaming and MG Elements tomorrow at 9 p.m. EST. And
I think I'll be there.
Yeah, and I was like, and I believe Yanni will be there.
Yeah,
so,
I think I'll be there. Adam, you come?
I may be there. We will find out.
Okay. We will find out. You guys will see in the Go Live post who is hosting, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. Wait, wait. Should I wait further? I know.
You can go now. Go now.
Okay.
Woo.
Send it.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Awesome. I have to go because I was in the middle of something, but I will catch you guys.
See ya.
Have a good night.
Peace.
Bro, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a crazy ending. Guys, I think we're ready for this so.
Nice. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time.
Good cast. Peace.
It could have been better for me at least.
Yeah.
I've been alright. I stepped up eventually. Alright, man. Good luck. Go win some games.
Peace.
See ya.